So, continuing off of what Casey was talking about with our article, another main point that we came up with was the importance of developing a socially supportive classroom. And this can be done in many ways. The first one that we have is recognizing students' home language and culture and kind of bringing that into your classroom. Because this can facilitate their feelings of connection to not only the content that you're teaching, but they can bring in their previous knowledge and just feel overall more connected and supported within the classroom. Another thing that you can do is voice high expectations for all students and try to keep your statements positive. This will just create, again, that like positive atmosphere and kind of like more of a low pressure situation for these students. Another way is invite students to share about their cultures and backgrounds. So maybe if like you're reading a book and it's about a culture that one of your students is from, you could have them share experiences they have, or around certain holidays, you could have them talk about different traditions that they have in their family or that have to do with their culture. And then lastly, learn as much as possible about these students' backgrounds, cultures, and their home life. Not only will it make you more relatable to the student, but also might help you understand different ways they like learn better or different circumstances they have in their life that might affect their education. And overall, it'll just create a more like trustworthy and honest and open relationship, which is always good. And then the other main point that we came up with from our article was how you should reduce cognitive load and increase accessibility of content and knowledge. And so a couple of things that you can do for this is first translating keywords on either quizzes or exams or even just activities from English to a student's native language, and not necessarily like translating the entire worksheet, but having just those like keywords will kind of maybe say, oh, this is what it's about. This will help me kind of figure out what the activity is talking about. Also, try rephrasing things in shorter sentences or using less complex words. Using the shorter sentences will allow them to focus on what you're saying more and not trying to translate an entire long like paragraph at one time. And then using the less complex words will just make it easier for them to get the overall message of what you're trying to say. Always have important instructions or elements that you want done written down instead of just verbally telling them. This kind of goes for all students. They'll probably follow your directions more if they have it like in writing because they might not either hear you or might be confused on what you're saying. So just having it written down for them to be able to read or like go back to might help them. And then establishing cooperative learning groups or like a peer buddy system, especially for ELL students, this can be very important to have just like that one or two people that they always know that will support them. You know, obviously the whole class will, but someone that they can trust and just like help them along the way will probably make them feel a lot more comfortable and welcomed in the classroom. And it gives them someone to go to if they're confused that's not you. And so if you're not available, they have other resources that they can use. So a couple other discussion questions that we came up with, and we have our like doc linked in I think Casey's presentation, so if you guys want to go read these, it'll probably be easier. But one that we came up with were what are some ways you could adapt lessons for ELL students without having them to do alternative assignments. So basically, what are some adjustments you could make to make it easier for them? Another question is, what are some activities you could do in your classroom to make ELL students feel welcomed and comfortable, especially at the beginning of the school year? The school year is very difficult for a lot of people, and especially coming in if you don't know the language, it can be very, very overwhelming. So what kind of activities could you do to get them more involved and comfortable? And then lastly, how would you include families, specifically ones who do not speak English, at home in the classroom and within their child's education? You know, these families are often hesitant to join the classroom because they're fearful that they're not going to understand what's going on. So what are some different ways that you can bring them in or help them feel like they are welcomed in your classroom as well? So yeah.